Okay. There we go. Oh, off to a great start. How is everyone doing? And I hope you're having a great time. I'm a little bit nervous, as you can tell already, making a little bit of a mistake here. Going to the wrong screen. But I hope this turns out well. If not, I can just privatize the stream and just, yeet it from existence. No one will remember it. But today I want to do something that's a little bit different, a little bit of a just chatting stream, where I get to talk about my favorite fictional racetracks. So I've got 3 different game series. I've got the Automotive, the Enthusiast Professional Racing, and the Gran Turismo franchises that we're going to be going through today. Taking a look at some of the different tracks, they're fictional tracks, and ranking them from S to F. Getting to see roughly where I stack them. And so again, this is only going to be fictional, like fully fictional circuits. So any track that is officially like licensed by the FIA or holds like actual sanctioned events and everything like that, like Suzuka Circuit or anything like that, is not going to be on this list. It's only going to be fictional circuits or fictional racetracks. That being said, things based off of like actual togeis or actual road that are made with actual roads, those are still fair game, as long as those haven't held like an actual like sanctioned, legally, recognized race. So those are still good. So like things like Urarako, Akagi Hill, certain highways and everything. Those are still fair game because those are basically just created from actual roads, but not actual racetracks. That being said, that we're gonna start diving into firstly with our Automotive fictional racing track. Oh, I should probably actually sort of state the qualities that I consider to be a really good racetrack. So I got that listed here in a nice list. So the qualities that make like a really good racetrack in my head anyway, is that it's fun to drive. So the first one is that it's fun to drive in either a large variety of cars that are inside of the game, or it's fun to drive in at least a good subsection of vehicles. So if it's, for example, if it is a karting racetrack, it should be good. Basically, it should be fun to drive in karts, like especially if it's designed specifically for karts. But if there isn't a whole lot of vehicles in the game, or if the vehicles that are designed for aren't fun to drive on, then it is going to get a lower ranking. And it should also allow for very good battles against opponents. So it shouldn't be too narrow or too wide where overtaking is too easy or too difficult. It should have it like that just right, where you can get a lot of good battles through the corners, without a whole lot of extreme amounts of vehicle contact. It should also be fairly challenging, but not obnoxiously so. So for example, a lot of good variety of corners, a lot of, some things that kind of throw you off just a little bit, but not to the point where it's genuinely frustrating to drive. Obviously that one is a bit more subjective, because all of these are very subjective. This is basically my opinion. But that one is also very subjective, because it is entirely dependent on basically my skill level, where I think they would be. What I think is easy, some people may think is hard. What I think is hard, some people may think is very easy. And then finally, the last point is if the track itself has very good scenery. Again, very subjective, but if the track is just sort of in the middle of nowhere, there's like nothing but flat land all around, if there is nothing to see, no sort of actual landmarks, then that does make the track a bit more boring. Because you do want the tracks, you do want your fictional racetracks to have a bit of pizzazz to them. That doesn't necessarily mean they need to be on on the moon, or all of them need to be gorgeous coaster tracks, but there definitely needs to be something that makes them easily recognizable. If you see like a single screenshot of like a vehicle on that track, you should be able to instantly recognize, hey, this is such and such track. That being said, let's go into firstly the Automotive rankings. And I do have the pictures up as well, so you can see, get a better look at them as well. Here they are. So the first one we have is Rocco Hill. Now Rocco Hill is based off an actual road in Japan. It's a very, very kind of winding course. A lot of mid-speed, sort of 90-degree corners flowing through it. It is a very, very good, very flowing course. And as you can see here from some of the pictures, on here, there's a lot of greenery, nice kind of shallow slope, but it is still a very, very, very nice course. Definitely really enjoyable to drive. Corner variety, it doesn't have a whole lot of corner variety. A lot of corners that are very kind of 90-degree or hairpins. But it does provide some really, really good racing with the AI as well. Especially in the Tokyo Extreme Racer series, which, granted, different handling model, but that course exists there as well. And it's very, very, very fun to drive, I think. So this one I think is going to go up to B. There's a good start, B ranking. I think that'll definitely, I think that's a good start for here. All right, the next one we have is Akagi Hill. Now Akagi Hill is very, very nice. Again, it's another mountain pass, a Japanese mountain pass. Very, very cool. It's got it starts out, if you're going from the top down, it starts out with a fairly long straightaway with some winding corners to gradually get into a very, very tight, very technical, a lot of tight hairpins here, where if you're an equally matched vehicle, you can get a lot of back and forth between between two drivers, two cars, because of the constant switchbacks and the hairpins. You can have some pretty good battles through this section here. Then it does open up again sort of through the end of the first third of the course. You get some good higher speed sections as well, so you get some heavy braking areas. A good opportunity to kind of pass along this hairpin here, or going into this hairpin. And again, another very, very kind of high speed coming out of that before going into sort of another. Like, there's a lot of hairpins, but you approach it from different speeds. So it does make it very, very different, very different. Because through here it's very, very tight, hairpin to hairpin to hairpin. Here it's a hairpin, then you get a very, very long straight. You get a heavy braking zone where you can get some good overtaking done. So it is a very, very tricky course though, especially the hairpins that are all right in a row at the end. It's a good sort of landmark as well, where you can really kind of know where exactly you are on the course. It's very, very memorable as a course. When do you think we'll get back Spoon? I don't know. Probably whenever they're able to get licenses for Spoon. They've had it in a previous Gran Turismo game, so it's entirely possible they can get it again. But you know, there's like I said, they need to be able to get more races with the vehicles they already have first. There's already so many tuning cars in Gran Turismo 7 that just aren't used in any event, so before they add more tuning cars that don't get used, they should probably create events for tuning cars. Akagi Hill is really, really cool. Definitely. That is, well, okay, that's not showing up. That's not showing up the actual track. That's fine. Akagi Hill, I'm gonna place it for the Autumn Elisa in A. It is a very, very good track. It also has the fall leaves as well. I really like the I do enjoy fall tracks as well. I do love the fall vibes. So that I may end up ranking some of these a bit higher than others, due to the fall vibes. But still, it is a very, very, very fun track. Alright, the next one on the list, Osaka Highway. And Osaka Highway is based off an actual sort of highway in Osaka. It's the Hanshin Route 1 loop. And it's... I don't like this one nearly as much. While it is based off actual highway roads in Osaka, and you can drive on this in Tokyo Extreme Racer 3 as well, this section. It's basically a lot of sort of hard acceleration, top speed zones into a fairly heavy braking zone, and then sort of a 90-degree corner, sort of a longer 90-degree corner. There isn't really a whole lot of elevation change, except for this bottom part here, where you do kind of go up onto sort of an elevated roadway. But even then, it's pretty bare bones. There isn't really outside of the fun neon lights on the buildings, which you can kind of see here a bit. This track really doesn't have a whole lot of isn't really all that memorable. And it definitely favors a lot of very, very high speed cars. And slower vehicles, the track is a bit boring. So I'm gonna rank this probably closer to like a C. Yeah, probably a C. In here for this ranking. It's okay. It's not bad to race on, but it's not great. There are definitely much better tracks in this game. So next one we're gonna be going to is West Tokyo. Now West Tokyo is very a fun track. You get a lot of 90-degree corners because it is in the heart of an actual city. But it's got lots of buildings, lots of sort of neon lights and everything like that, kind of, you know, reflecting off your vehicle. Very great vibe. The road width does change a decent amount as well, which allows for which does make it just a little bit tricky as well. Just this kind of little gotcha if you're not familiar with the track. Very fun though. Very enjoyable. It is another very high speed track, but you do have a good amount of corner variety, so it does kind of make up for that a bit. I'm gonna rank that in the B. I'm gonna rank that in the B tier. That one's not bad. Alright, the next one. East Tokyo, fine. East Tokyo I definitely think is probably one of the better tracks. It does have a lot of 90-degree corners as well. Again, if West Tokyo had a decent amount of track width variety, East Tokyo has that even more so. And you can get some really good sort of drafting battles along the front straight and the back straight, which is really cool, along some tight technical section here. So you got to really make sure you got a good variety of vehicle setups. I actually really enjoy this one, despite the relative simplicity of it. I'm gonna probably rank this closer to A. Actually, now, so I like the wet one better. I'm gonna rank this one B. That's okay, so anything to see the R390 GT1 race car. Again, they need to have events for the vehicles they already have. They already have many. I'd imagine it's probably gonna be pretty close to an actual Group 2 class car, which is where the Mercedes CLK GTR already is. But there's almost no events for any of the Group 2 cars at all. So if they add another Group 2 car, it's just going to sit in a pile and people are going to collect it, and then it's just going to sit in their virtual garage collecting virtual dust. They need events for these cars before they add any more of these types of cars. Alright, the next one on the list is going to be East Tokyo Rain. Now the rain definitely adds a lot of challenge to this as well, because it actually makes things just a little bit more balanced between the vehicles. So you get the front wheel drive cars that can handle the rain a bit better as well, and you have rear wheel drive cars which normally get a bit higher top speed, that are a bit slidey around some of the tighter corners. So it makes battles between different drivetrains very fun, really enjoyable going through here, and you still get the really good drafting battles through the back straight and the front straight as well. I'm gonna rank this one in A, because it's basically the rain makes it so much better actually, because it adds a bit more challenge to it, but it's very fun. The next one on the list, US Speedway. Now this one I'm not a fan of. Normally I like my oval racing, but with Automodelista, this really doesn't benefit a whole lot of vehicles. There's already a lot of high-speed tracks, and then this was sort of created and added as an additional one for the US release. And while it's cool, while it is very cool, I don't like it too much. Because again, it basically only favors the fastest vehicles, and handling doesn't really matter too much on here. It's purely just top speed. And it's just I don't like it that much. I'm gonna probably place this closer to D. And then you have the US dirt track. Now the US dirt track has got some really cool vibes. But with this as well, the dirt track really only benefits like front engine rear wheel drive cars and all-wheel drive cars, especially all-wheel drive cars. It's pretty much the only ones that really do well on the US dirt track. Which means it's very difficult to have a decent competition between multiple different vehicles, especially those in the higher classes, because there isn't a whole lot of vehicles in the higher classes that are four-wheel drive. There's an okay amount of four-wheel drive vehicles in the game, but like there is still some it's just not that fun, this one. The off-road handling in this game as well also kind of lends itself to that. The cars themselves are already very slidey in the first place, which kind of it does make things very very tricky, but it does make things a lot more fun. It makes things a bit more balanced between the different vehicle drivetrain types. But to have it on an even slidier track with the US dirt track, you're constantly almost bogged down unless you're in an all-wheel drive car, and it's not fun. I do not like doing any races on the US dirt track, which is a shame because I normally quite like dirt track racing in real life, but it's not. I don't like doing it in automotive stuff. Definitely not. And then the final track, the Tamiya track. Now the Tamiya track's really cool because all the cars get replaced with a little remote controlled vehicle instead. And there's a lot of twisty bits, a lot of really good, really cool battles you can have through here. It's very fun, and it's got a sort of a memorable quirk as well with the fact that it only allows you know, the RSC type vehicles as well. Like every vehicle becomes sort of chipified and becomes an RSC vehicle when you use this track, which is really cool. It makes it very memorable, especially because you don't actually get a chance to race on this track in career mode. Like this is an arcade. This is an arcade only track. So with this, it is very fun to race around, but it does lose a little bit of points on being an arcade only track, and you can't really use in career mode. So I'm gonna put this here. I'm actually gonna bump up East Tokyo Rain up to S tier. Now actually I'm gonna bump Akagi up to S tier. I love my fall tracks, and Akagi is just very fun to go through, both uphill and downhill. So that is gonna be gonna be sort of the tracks for Automodelista. Good mix of stuff. So some really good stuff. Tamiya might actually get bumped up one more. Same with East Tokyo. West Tokyo might actually get bumped up a little bit more as well. Very fun tracks. I really enjoy that. But there's definitely a few stinkers there that I'm not as keen on. I'm gonna keep that there. All right, next up on the list we're gonna be ranking all of the tracks on Enthusiast Professional Racing. This is gonna be a lot of fun. So let me get that all sorted real quick. So let's get this open. Tracks. Alright, so the first one we have is Autumn Hill. Autumn Hill is a very fun track. Let me actually pull this up. Okay, we don't really have any good pictures there. That's unfortunate. But Autumn Hill is a very enjoyable track. It kind of almost reminds me, if you've driven on the Sprockets, hey, it's good to see you. How have you been? I hope you're doing really good. Right now we're ranking fictional racing tracks from different racing series. Doing something a little bit different. You can let me know if this is enjoyable or if this is an absolute cringe fest and I shouldn't do this. I should stick to just playing video games. But it is good to see you. Midnight Racer, you too. Good, great. Welcome to the stream. We just might as well go back to this. We just finished up ranking the Automodelista, the fictional tracks in Automodelista. So in the S ranking we had Akagi Hill, beautiful fall track, lots of twists, lots of turns, very enjoyable to drive on it. A tier we have East Tokyo Rain, the Tamiya course, and West Tokyo. Very enjoyable tracks. Very fun. The rain really kind of makes the racing very exciting on East Tokyo Fine. Yeah, we're gonna be moving to the Enthusiast tracks in just a second. Just doing a quick recap on the Automodelista tracks. In B we have Urarako, very solid mountain course, as well as East Tokyo Fine. Very enjoyable course. C we got Osaka Highway. That's an okay course, but it's not too memorable. The higher speed tracks aren't nearly as fun in in Automodelista because they are a lot of the vehicles are a bit slower in that game. So having high-speed tracks really doesn't really benefit a whole lot, except for like the fastest vehicles, which is why the US speedway is so low. Do you think after Enthusiast you could do Hot Pursuit too? So I haven't planned that for this stream. I've got basically Automotive, Enthusiast, and Gran Turismo. I can definitely, if you want me to continue to doing like the just chatting type streams and everything, I can definitely create a fictional sort of tier list. And create that for the tracks for Hot Pursuit 2, but I have not actually created that one yet. I could do that, but I would need time to create that. So probably not this stream, but maybe in a future stream. Definitely in a future stream. I can I'll write that down right now actually. There we go. Got that written down as a to-do list. I may as well rank the cars in that one as well, so I can get screenshots of all of that. But that'll probably be in a future stream. Alright, but here we go. We got the Enthusiast tracks. The first one, we have Autumn Hill. This one, I love this track. This track is so much fun to race on. It's a very short track, being only a mile long. Very, very quick. But you got a lot of fast flowing corners, as well as two tight technical sections with the tunnel chicane and the chicane going back into the woods. Very, very fun. Really enjoy this. It almost feels like the Goodwood circuit, if you're familiar with the Goodwood racing courses. It's very, very fun. And you can get a lot of really, really good battles with the AI here as well. Definitely recommend driving on it as sort of one of the tracks that you to kind of get a feel for Enthusiast. Plus also a lot of vehicles. It's very, very fun in pretty much every type of vehicle, from the slowest, your little MGBs, your little Japanese K cars. Those feel very, very fun through here because it's a very tight technical sections. But even your faster Japanese sports cars and your supercars as well still feel very, very fun. It's a track that feels good in pretty much every single type of car. Very enjoyable. It's got a little bit of challenge as well. Decent corner variety. Beautiful, beautiful fall scenery as well. I'm definitely ranking that in the A tier right off the bat. That is a very, very top tier track. The next one on the list, we have Autumn Mountain. It's sort of a longer extended version of Autumn Hill. Very, very good. Very enjoyable, especially this straightaway right here. You're going through an absolutely beautiful tree-lined terrace with that's just blazing red in color. If this game had a photo mode, I would take so many pictures of the different brightly colored cars racing through that section. I wish this game did have a photo mode. But the closest thing I have is basically screenshotting stuff on the PCSX2, which is a little bit difficult in the middle of the race. But this track, it's very, very fun. It adds this extra technical section to Autumn Hill, and it is very, very, very fun. You get some very, very sharp corners through this section as well that do allow a little bit of battling with the AI, and it's very, very, very fun to drive. Again, pretty much any type of vehicle you're racing in, that track is very, very fun. Highly recommend it. That one's gonna be on an S tier. Very, very good. Alright, next one, we have Bergen Schlich. So this track, it's got really great scenery. You're starting sort of in this classic sort of German town with the cobbled streets and everything. The cobbled streets have a little bit less traction. Very, very fun. You kind of go through the town here before coming out of the town and going across a couple bridges before another sort of tight technical section down here. So you do get a lot of corner variety, and it's very, very fun. The exit of this corner here is crucial to getting a good lap time, because then you're going along this very, very long, high-speed straight into this slight right-hand kink. And it's very, very easy to take this kink wrong as well. But you can, if you're very, very brave, you can get a good run on the AI and sort of dive bomb them down the inside of the kink, or try to go around the outside on the kink, and you may be able to make a pass stick. And all this early section is very, very fun. Very good. A lot of fast flowing corners, a lot of some slower corners as well to break things up, but it's still very enjoyable. But the final section, all of these hairpins going back and forth, that part isn't as fun. That part is a little bit less fun. It definitely kind of breaks up the flow of the track a little bit too much. And you get through, sort of longer, sort of sweeping, flowing corners, and then you get a lot of like very, very jagged, very tight corners right at the very end, especially this little like M section there. It's a very, very tricky section where the curb can really kind of cause your car to get really unstable. It narrows, gets very, very narrow as well. So battling with the AI is not nearly as fun through this section. So it's a shame because the rest of the track is very, very, very enjoyable to drive on. But this section here is an absolute pain. It's very, very, very painful. So I'm gonna put this in C. It's gonna be either low B or high C tier for this. And it basically just comes down to the last section of the course kind of ruins the rest of the course, which is a shame. But I'm probably gonna go with the C tier there. Maybe. Yeah, probably C tier unless I change my mind a little bit later. The next one we have is the Dragon Range. Dragon Range, sort of a very, very tight, very technical midnight toge race. Very, very fun. For the most part, you get a lot of corner variety, and it's very fun to take a single vehicle through there. But it's not that fun. It's not all that fun to race because of just how it is very, very tight. Especially this, both this section of very, very tight hairpin turns, and this section of hairpin turns. It is very, very difficult when you're in a battle with the AI. And the hairpin turns get a little bit too tight. So it makes contact with the AI almost inevitable. It makes it very, very, very difficult to make a pass as well. You almost have to wait for this long straight to really make a pass for the AI if you get a bad start either way. And then basically you just have to kind of defend the rest of the way down. So it does lose a little bit of points there. It does lose a little bit of points due to the lack of sort of overtaking ability, due to the difficulty it is to have a fun, enjoyable battle with the AI. There's very few actual passing points. It's basically at the start, at the finish, and then through sort of this section here before it gets too tight, too technical to really pass. It does have some great scenery, great music as well on that course. Very, very, it's got some really good vibes. So it's not too bad. I'm gonna put that on a C tier. It's okay. All right, the next course we have on the list is the Edge of the Road. Edge of the Road is an off-road rally course. It's got some really, really great scenery. You get a whole bunch of drop-off cliffs. You get to see a whole bunch of waterfalls. You get to go through a bunch of tunnels as well. Some really, really good variety of scenery as well, despite it being a fairly short course, only 2 miles. The laps themselves are very, very, very quick. Not very, very quick. Very, very long, actually. Because of it is a very slow speed course, a lot of tight technical corners, but because the course itself is fairly wide, you can take a good variety of lines through the track, and it actually does lend itself very, very well to battling with the AI. It is pretty enjoyable to drive. The higher speed section, trying to get your car to turn in enough for the higher speed corners on the front straight. With the change of surfaces going from dirt to tarmac back to dirt is also very, very enjoyable. That is always a rush, getting as close as you can to the walls without hitting them. Very, very, very enjoyable. Good mix of high speeds, good mix of low speed corners. Very, very good actually. I definitely this is probably one of the better off-road circuits on the list. Probably a B tier. It's a good solid B tier course. Alright, the next one. Lowen Searing. Lowen Searing is a beautiful top tier course. Right from the start you have the jets flying overhead with the multicolored smoke trails. It is really, really, really enjoyable. You're going onto a very high speed banked turn that really it allows you to really kind of push your vehicle to the limits. Get to see roughly exactly how many G's it can pull into corners. And depending on the speed of your vehicle, you need to start braking just as you're coming out of the banking to get onto what I call the ears of the cat, because if you look at the entire shape of the course, it does look like a kitty cat. Like you got your back here, you got your the face of the cat there, you got your 2 ears, your front leg, your back leg, and you got your tail. And this track has some really good variety of corners. You can really catch up to some of the faster AI on the banking itself, and you can get some good battles in the 3 tight hairpin turns right here, and then the final right hand 90-degree right hand corner going into the tunnel. Very enjoyable. Then you have sort of the switchback here, which again is very fun to get right. You get some really good scenery as well. You get some picturesque views of the lakes as you're coming down into a fairly tight technical corner. You're going across the beautiful bridge as well, the beautiful red suspension bridge. And this corner complex here, the Grizzlies are pulling in a little bit, and they're playing against the Lakers. Oh, nice. Very nice. I wish them luck. Hopefully they do very well. Yeah, lots of very fun corners as well, especially with the track's length as well. You can kind of get into a vibe of just driving a track. With it being one of the few permanent racing circuits in Enthusiast, it definitely gets a bit more a bump up a bit more, because I do prefer permanent racing circuits over street circuits and stuff like that. Very enjoyable, very flowing, very good. You even have the fictional sort of backwards Radion corner here, where it kind of it's basically like the famous spa corner, which if you're not familiar with Radion. Radion is sort of the famous spa corner. You're going downhill, going to a slight kink left before a sweeping right-hand corner back uphill over the crest, and the track itself does that right here, but backwards as well. Instead of it does a slight kink right, and then a sweeping left hand going up. We sadly lost against the Clippers the other day, considering we didn't have a lot of our players who could have done worse. The score is 135 to 129. That's still a fairly close game. That's still, you know, edge of the seat playing and everything. That's pretty good. You know, despite not having all the players and everything, that's very enjoyable. That's definitely some pretty good gaming right there. Very nice. Well done. With low end searing, I should probably stop gushing about the course, but the low end searing is it is definitely an exemplary of definitely a very good example of how to build a fictional permanent racing circuit, especially for a vast variety of vehicles at different speeds. That is S tier. Low end searing is definitely S tier. Alright, the next course, Marco Strada. It's a very short, less than a mile long city course in sort of a very Italian city. You get some really good, really good scenery here. And the next one on the same night, so they went into a double overtime against the Celtics. Oh wow. Dang, that is double overtime. That's means the game is very close. Well done to both of them. But I wanna show Marco Strada. Get a picture of a guy. Marco Strada. There we go. We get a little bit more on the actual track itself. We get a lot of you get right by the bay, or right by sort of the Mediterranean and everything. Very enjoyable. Very fun. Very fun track. I also like the high commitment chicane going through here. If you get the curbing just right, you can go very fast through that chicane before you're going through some of the sweeper left-hand corners. And this track does have a very good flow. It's a very fun track. It's a little bit on the easier side, with the exception of the chicane going through here, but it is still a very fun track. Marco Strada, I definitely rank the daytime one as an A tier track. Very enjoyable. The next one, we have the Marco Strada at night track. Again, this one's very enjoyable. But this one's a little bit different, because this one is a dual track. So instead of being up against a full grid of opponents, you're only up against one opponent, which does make it a bit less fun, because you're only up against one other car The rain does make it a little bit more challenging though, and it does make it fairly fun. The night scenery with all the searchlights on the boats and everything like that is very, very beautiful, and the rain effects for this game, for the graphics of this game, do look pretty good, kind of splashing on your windscreen and everything. So this one I also rate an A tier track. Alright, the next one we have is Mirage Crossing. Mirage Crossing is a very interesting one. As you see here, it doesn't actually give, despite the fact that the track is more or less the same each and every time, it doesn't actually give a distance. But it's just really, really cool. It's a point-to-point off-road track that kind of feels like almost like a Baja race, where you're or like the Paris-Dakar rally, where you're going through you know, the very, very fast desert track. Very enjoyable. You get some good airtime, especially on the once you get to the actual like open desert section outside of the rocks and everything. Very, very fun. You can get some high speed, so you can get some really, really good battles against the opponents. Only downside is the track itself is very like super wide for an off-road track, so you can take a lot of different lines going through it, which on one hand does make it very, very fun, but on the other hand it does make battling against opponents not as challenging, not as rewarding. It's a little bit too wide to have some good battles against opponents, but it's still very, very fun. It's definitely a good B tier off-road track, very enjoyable. Definitely like it a lot. The next one, Mystic Caveway. Mystic Caveway is absolutely gorgeous. And the fact that it's not used in some of the more advanced races is a shame, because it is very, very fun. Basically start on the outside here, outside of a massive sort of cave formation. Before diving in, you get some sweeping corners, gradually getting tighter as you get into the cave itself, almost feeling almost claustrophobic. But once you get to this corner here, you kind of almost come to sort of an underground, like an underground waterfall. And with all the spotlights and everything lighting up all the different water and rock formations inside, it is very, very beautiful. With the track itself being very short as well, it's very, it is very, very fun to do. It's very enjoyable to kind of do the quick laps. If you can get a vehicle to do sort of roughly minute 10 laps, that's you know you've got a fairly good off-road vehicle if you can do that. And it's just really enjoyable. You can get some good battles, especially through the back and forth thing with these hairpins here, which is very, very fun, dueling with the AI through that section. And the track itself isn't too tight, but isn't too wide either. It kind of feels like a good mix, a good battle, a good mix of sort of tight and open corners as well. Definitely an A tier. I'm probably gonna move Microstrata Wet into the B tier, just because it is a bit of a, it's a bit lower than the regular Microstrata, which is a shame because at nighttime it is beautiful, but it's not as fun to go against a single opponent on Microstrata. Alright, the next one, Pacific Gateway. Pacific Gateway is decent. It is a very fun track. You get a good mix of high speed straights and just sort of a tight sort of 90-degree corners, like almost like a city section. But then once you get into like the suburb section through here, you get some twisty bits. It's very, very fun, very enjoyable. I do usually race this course quite a bit, because it is very good. You get some really good battles against the AI. Usually if the cars are fast on the straight, sometimes you can catch them back up on the corners. And especially this chicane here, you can get some good dive bombs on the AI through there. But it is also very, very easy to kind of mess up your braking point there and get your car a little bit squirrely through there, as many of you probably see me do a couple of times. So with that, it is a little bit tricky. You get some good track width variety as well. This is definitely one of the better city circuits, I think. I think I'm gonna put it in B tier. It's enjoyable, but not great. I mean, it's okay. The next one we have is Rev City. Rev City is a sort of a fictional Japanese track. A lot of highway sections, very, very fast, very flowing corners. You can actually catch some airtime if your car is fast enough on the main straight, which is very, very fun. And it just feels like a super like futuristic city street circuit as well. It's very wide, The corners themselves are also very kind of shallow, so you can get some really good battles with the AI going throughout the entire course. The bus stop chicane here as well is very, very fun to get right. The track itself is a little bit on the easy side, but it's still a very enjoyable track. And you can get some really good battles, especially against AI that are a bit that are in vehicles that are a bit faster than you. It makes things very interesting, very fun. I'm probably gonna rank this as that as an A tier track. It's very enjoyable, very fast, very flowing. The next one, Route de la Seine. This track, I hate it. I hate everything about this track. The pretty much this from the first hairpin all the way until like the final corner, the track itself is pretty much too narrow to make a very good overtake. It is just super narrow, sort of Parisian streets. It isn't all that fun to drive because it is so narrow, and two, because it basically is a lot of very kind of short, like little kink turns that doesn't really feel all that great to drive. And then you do have the loop here, the mega loop, and because that entire corner is off camber and it's mostly uphill until you get around this section here, it is understeer central. So the entire time you are fighting the car, trying to get it to turn in, and it is absolutely dreadful. It isn't even like that difficult of a track. It is just not a fun track. You can't really get any good battles with the AI. This is definitely one that favors pretty much getting a very, very fast start off of the line and then defending the entire rest of the track and then getting another good run down the main straight. I do not like this track. This track is F tier. That is a bad city street circuit. I think Gran Turismo will still add 2 more tracks to the US in Gran Turismo 7. I mean, it's definitely possible. There is a lot of US tracks that they could add, but with a lot of tracks right now, they're still missing events. Like when the game first came out, Monza had like 2 or 3 events for it. I think they've slowly increased that now. But when you have the literal Temple of Speed, and I'm not even a big Monza fan, when you've got the licensing for the literal Temple of Speed, one of the most famous Formula 1 tracks in the world, and you don't really have any good events for said track. Like, you don't even have a good race with like Italian cars on that track, or a race with Ferraris, or anything like that. There needs to be events. There needs to be more events. That needs to come first and foremost. So I definitely think right now the events themselves are spread way too thin amongst the tracks they already have. If they add more tracks, they need to add much more events. So many more events. Like, they need to nearly double the amount of race events that are available, and actually make them pay well too. I think before they really before it's worth getting before it's worth adding more tracks. All right, the next track is the Speediopolis Ring. This one, it's basically a fictionalization of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Even with the 2.5 mile configure 2.5 mile sort of rectangular, low banked oval. This one, again, with Enthusia having more slower vehicles, this is a bit of a disappointment. I think if they were to have a Speediopolis Ring, they should have done the infield road course of the actual Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and just sort of have it as a roval track instead of what they did with a full-on high-speed oval. Because a lot of the vehicles with that one, it's difficult to actually compete against the AI when it's much faster than you. So either you're up against vehicles that blow your doors off, or you're up against vehicles that you blow the doors off. And there isn't really any actual battles going on, which is unfortunate. I don't like that track as much. It's not as painful to drive as Route de la Seine, but it's still not fun. So I'm gonna put that in D tier. That is definitely a D tier racing track, I think. And I got 3 more tracks here. We got Victoria Garden. Victoria Garden, you get some beautiful scenery, some of the old sort of British architecture as well, right in the heart of London. Very, very fun in this section up here. You get a lot of sort of high-speed corners where you're right up against the wall, and it's very, very high-commitment corners. Very, very fun to battle with the AI through pretty much this first section here. You do get some good track width changes as well, with right here, this section being very, very narrow, and this section being very, very wide. So it does add a bit to the variety as well. A lot of good what's the terminology? A lot of good landmarks as well. Very enjoyable, very, very fun. Only thing I don't like is this hairpin corner right here. It's that part isn't as fun, because no matter which way you're approaching it from, because the track gets very, very narrow through that section, and because the corner itself is very, very tight, it turns into an absolute mess. It's very unfun to take that corner there. So that one I'm gonna put this in D tier. What is my favorite Forza Motorsport? So I haven't extensively played any of the Forza games. I need to, I know, and I do intend to eventually. I want to try to get some Xbox emulators working and then get the discs for that, so that I can at least play some of the earlier Forza Motorsports. But just looking at content alone, and vehicle variety and track variety, I think Forza Motorsport 4 may end up. I predict that one will end up being my favorite if I do get the chance to play all of them. I definitely think Forza Motorsport 4 may end up being my favorite, with a good mix of high quality vehicle models, a lot of good vehicle variety, good tracks as well. Good variety of tracks. I think that could be a very, very enjoyable Forza. So probably 4, maybe. And in terms of the Horizon games, looking at gameplay, I have a feeling I'm probably like either 2 or 3 the most. Just because I think those ones are a bit more focused on sort of the car culture, instead of just having like an extensive amount of cars. I think that those two are more so focused on like the car culture of their respective areas, and had a good mix of on-road and off-road sections as well. Whereas modern Forza is a little bit too off-roady, maybe, from what it looks like. But I can be entirely wrong. I may change that opinion as I actually begin to play the different Forza games, I think. That was Victoria Garden, another D tier track. Not that great of a track. Next one we have is Victoria Road. Now Victoria Road gets rid of that hairpin, which immediately makes it so much better, because you still get the high commitment corners going through here. Very, very fun. You still get some good sections going through here. The tunnel section right through here is very, very fun as well, because it's very deceptive. It is a very, very tricky corner complex going through there, but it is so much fun. The car can catch air at multiple points as well, which does make it fun on with the faster and the slower vehicles. Really, really enjoyable. I'm gonna put Victoria Road in B tier. Victoria Road definitely in B tier. Very, very fun. And then the final track, Winter Traum. Winter Traum, it's a snow track, partially based on and around the Bergenschloss track. Actually, this right here, this start finish is the same start finish on the Bergenschloss track as well, and it basically kind of just goes through the town mostly, as opposed to going out and through the highway sections outside of the town. It's kind of mainly stays within the town, and it's a decent track. This does have a very, very good vibe, a lot of sort of Germanic architecture and everything. Get to go past the frozen rivers. Very, very enjoyable for the most part. Only downside is basically this track is only really fun with four-wheel drive and the occasional front-wheel drive vehicle. The snow tracks in general are very, very tricky. They can be fun, and this one is definitely one of the better snow tracks. But even then, it does have a few issues. Your vehicle is very, very prone to kind of spinning out, especially when you go through this corner complex here. It really unsettles your vehicle, especially if it's sort of a shorter wheelbase and a higher powered vehicle. It's really easy to unsettle your vehicle going over the curbing here. And it's difficult to determine where exactly the track limits begin, because everything is absolutely covered in snow, which makes which does make racing on this does make it a little bit of a killer to your enthusiast points, and it makes it so it's very difficult to actually level up your vehicle. But it is still a very fun track to drive on. It is enjoyable. I'm gonna put it in the C tier. It's definitely one of the better snow circuits. But it is still enjoyable. And also, this is on Tier Maker. So if you guys want to create your own version of that, you are more than welcome to do so as well. I do have that publicly available, both this one and the automotive Tier Maker ones. I did create those ones. So you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome to check them out. You're more than welcome to join in, create your own tier list as well. Could be very fun. Get to see your opinions as well for the different fictional racetracks. And then finally, here we go. We have the Gran Turismo original tracks. This is from the entirety of the Gran Turismo franchise. And you see here, they did double up 2 tracks here, which is a bit annoying. But we'll probably put them on the same category. But you have so many tracks. Very enjoyable. And it is, oh boy, this one will take a little bit to go through, but it will still be a lot of fun. The first one we have is Alsace. It's set in the French countryside. It's sort of got a very old-timey racing circuit feel, where they kind of closed off. Hello there, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well today. Right now we're ranking fictional racing circuits. So right now we're talking about all the we ranked the automotive fictional tracks. We ranked all the enthusiast fictional tracks, and now we're gonna be ranking all the Gran Turismo fictional tracks. This one someone else had created, not myself, but I did find it, and it seems very high quality. I'm doing pretty good too. A little tired, but I'm doing good. Right now we're gonna talking about the Alsace circuit. It is a very long circuit, very enjoyable track. But you do have a good variety of corners, some on camber, some off camber. Very hilly section as well, but not too much that it upsets the balance of the vehicles. Pretty much anything up to around a Group 4 class car can handle this track quite nicely, and it's very fun to drive this track. And I think I would love to see, especially since they added the old Honda Formula 1 car, I would love to see a track. Did I delete the one got midnight? I didn't delete the one got midnight. But I did finish the stream last night. We'll probably play a bit more this coming up Monday for that. And it should be fairly fun. One of the viewers, AG Kaiju, he told me that to get the tuning mode unlocked, I need to get all S ranking on a scenario, which is going to be very difficult. Yeah, this is coming up Monday. So that'll be the 12th. But yeah, this is the Alsace circuit, Alsace, I believe. And it's just very fun. I would love to see the race with the classic Formula car, the classic Honda Formula 1 car that they just recently added on this track. It would be a very good track. So it feels like an old style Formula 1 circuit. Very fun to drive. Very enjoyable. Good mix of hills. Good elevation change. You can kind of see it in here. The track kind of flows around. You get some really good racing here. It's good to battle with the AI as well. Right around here is a really good battle point, because this section is banked as well, so you can go right up alongside the AI. Very fun, very enjoyable. This is definitely a very good Gran Turismo original circuit. I rank that in the B. I rank that in B tier actually. Very good. Up until right around like GT4 class cars. Anything faster than a GT4 class car isn't as fun, because they get very unsettled by the bumps and the dips and the grooves on the track. But up until that point, it is very fun. It's very good with street circuits as well. Next we have Lago. I'm probably butchering these names. We have Lago Major. But this track is very fun. Especially you have the almost, not necessarily vertical, but the high banked hairpin corner going through here. Yeah, this racetrack, very fun, very fast. You get a good, massive variety of corners. You start the stream. You start the lap going to a fairly tight left-right corner complex before the track begins to kind of gradually open itself up. You get a good passing point here, as well as here, going into the hard braking zone. And if you're brave, you can get a good passing point here against some of the AI before you go into very high commitment S corners going through here. You can kind of get right up on the curbing and everything. It's very fun. You can get really gutsy. Then you get a really long... Did Racetrack have the dealership in a Japanese car? Racetrack have the dealership in a Japanese car? Not... So yeah, Gran Turismo does have a Japanese vehicle dealership. Gran Turismo has a good sort of mix of vehicles already in it and everything. For pretty much all the different Gran Turismos have a good amount of vehicles in them. But it is very... I'm mainly talking about the tracks themselves right now. Very fast. This is really good. This is even good up until even like the Group 2, and even occasionally get some good Group 1 battles going on this track. But it's definitely at least good enough for Group 2 class racing. Very fun, very fast. This corner itself, the high banked hairpin, is so much fun. You can get some really good runs. So there are multiple different lines you can take. You want to go up around the outside and try to carry more speed past the slower opponent. You want to try to clip the inside curbs and maybe unsettle your vehicle. How exactly do you want to tackle it? There's multiple different ways to do it, and it is, no matter which way you do it, you can get some good speed going through there. It feels so nice, and because you're going uphill, you can brake super late going into a fairly tight corner, so your vehicle slows down immensely as well. It's very fun, very enjoyable. Really good scenery as well. You're kind of in the Italian countryside as well. Very beautiful. A lot of forested sections. It's just really cool. You get some really close battles with opponents. The cars, even high downforce cars, can follow fairly well going through the corners. And despite the sheer difficulty of the human comedy 1 hour endurance race on here, which definitely was very frustrating. Is that the blue Z from Accio? Oh, this car right here? No, this car right here. This car is a BMW M6, I believe. BMW M6 GT3 car. These are all sort of GT3 class cars. In Gran Turismo, they're called Group 3. Oh, this one. And this is the new 400Z on the track as well. This car was added to the game this car was added to the game as well. Very nice car to drive. The track itself is very enjoyable. I rank this one S tier. Definitely one of the best new original Gran Turismo circuits. All right, the next one is Northern Isle Speedway. Northern Isle Speedway. It's a very tight, very short, almost bullpen style oval. It kind of almost feels like, if you're familiar with NASCAR, it drives a lot like Bristol, with a very short, but very high banked. That's a very tiny picture. I want something that's a bit bigger. But very short track, very high banks. You can take multiple lines through the corners. So while there isn't really any actual like stock cars in the game, if you have a bunch of classic muscle cars, you can kind of create almost a sort of semi-stock car race with the older full-size muscle cars like the Plymouth Superbird and everything. And that would definitely be a cool race to add with the classic muscle cars of like a sort of a 30 lap race or 40 lap race with pit stops and everything, to kind of really kind of test your throttle control going through the corners. I think that'd be very fun. But it's super high banking, so you can go in the low line, you can go in the high line, and no matter what you choose, there is you can still go fast through the course. Very, very enjoyable. For an oval, I definitely rank it fairly high. You can get some good battles there. Next one, Tokyo Expressway. Tokyo Expressway. Oh yeah, I can type. Tokyo Expressway. There we go. All right, so Tokyo Expressway is essentially they close down a highway, basically sort of. I imagine it seems very similar to the actual C1 loop, and it may actually be the C1 loop, or it may be something like a fictionalization of it. It's a Devil Z. It's a classic muscle car. Alright, so the Devil Z. I don't quite consider it a muscle car. It's more so sort of a classic tuner car, with it being, you know, more Japanese. It has a lower displacement engine as well compared to the big, you know, 5-liter, 7-liter V8s. The 7-liter big block V8s of the American muscle car. So it's probably closer to like a classic Japanese tuner car. But this one, it does take place in Tokyo. And while it's great for getting a whole bunch of pictures, it is absolutely terrible for racing. It's 2 lanes wide the entire way around. There isn't really any heavy braking zones. The Devil Z is a Japanese car. It's a classic from Japan. And I also don't like the Tokyo Expressway, because it seems like if you wanted a Tokyo City street circuit, you already had one that was really good. Like the Tokyo Route 246 is a top tier street circuit that you have already created, Gran Turismo, that has direct ties to automotive culture because it goes directly past the Honda headquarters. Why did you get rid of it in exchange for this? Because it's pretty? Because you wanted to live out your one gun midnight fantasies? No, it doesn't. It does not produce good racing. I do not like this one. This one, Tokyo Expressway, goes in F tier. It goes in F tier because it replaced Tokyo Route 246, and because the racing is horrible on it. Not fun. All right, Saint Croix actually is. It's okay. Let me showcase that one. This track has multiple different variations. Lots of different track layouts. It is absolutely gorgeous. So this also kind of feels like it feels almost like a hybrid between sort of a modern day Tilka circuit and with the flat sort of high speed corners, but you get some beautiful scenery, and it feels almost like a bit of like a classic Grand Prix circuit as well. It kind of feels like a hybrid between new and old. You like Osaka from Osaka's okay. Osaka Highway and Tokyo Stream Racer is very fun to race on. But that's because you're in a very fast car. But Saint Croix, I believe that's how you pronounce it, is very fun, and even the Group 1 class racing on here is really enjoyable, because even the high the high downforce, high performance prototypes can really run really close to each other, without it being too unforgiving, too annoying. It's actually really good. Like this, despite it looking kind of turn, almost like it was cut directly from Abu Dhabi Grand Prix circuit, it actually flows fairly well, and it does have a few very enjoyable sections also. I definitely rank that. Let me move this over here. I definitely rank that. I rank that in the B. I rank that C tier. It's decent. It's decent. It's got a few issues. It's definitely underutilized, I think, in Gran Turismo 7. I don't even think I think one of the variations doesn't even have any events for it at all, and it basically is just entirely it's just entirely like it's entirely unused. One of the variations of the circuit is entirely unused, which is a shame, because they took all the time to create that for Gran Turismo Sport and put it over into Gran Turismo 7. And then at least one of the variations of the track is not used at all, which is mind-boggling. But that's the case apparently. You know, the Yakuza counterpart too. They have a Saka. Oh, cool. It's Yakuza 2's in Osaka as well. Cool. Very, very nice. All right, the next one, the track that only appeared in Gran Turismo 6 and never showed up again. The Sierra Circuit. Very, very huge, like 27-mile long circuit. It is very, 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 very long track set in a Spanish countryside. A lot of flowing corners and everything. Basically, tracking Gran Turismo in the original. That's cool. People actually mapped out roughly where it is. But it's very, very hilly, very undulating track. Again, it kind of feels like an old style sort of Grand Prix circuit, or almost like something that would be raced in the like the Mille Miglia, with a lot of classic sports cars. It's only really used in a couple of missions in Gran Turismo. So in Gran Turismo 7, it's they listed as Osaka Express, listed as Tokyo Expressway, but even then, it's not. Tokyo Expressway isn't fun to race on in Gran Turismo 7. I don't like Tokyo Expressway in Gran Turismo 7. And it's a shame that Sierra was only used for like the missions, the main missions for well, not main missions, but like the tacked on missions for a DLC for Gran Turismo 6. Because the track itself was actually kind of fun to drive on, right up until you get to like I was thinking, yeah, it's not Osaka in Gran Turismo 7. It's Tokyo in Gran Turismo 7. But still, regardless, it's not a good track. But you have the Sierra circuit here, and Sierra's okay. It's definitely underutilized, which definitely kind of hurts its ranking a little bit. But it was fun at the time. It's good up until you get to around the supercar territory, and then the cars get a little bit too fast for the track. But it's an okay track. I put it C tier. It's beautiful track. Very, very enjoyable in the right car, but there's a lot of cars in the game that aren't necessarily right for it. Next one, Complex String. Oh, Complex String. This track, when I show you the track map, looks like something a 5th grader or 3rd grader would draw on the back of the notebook, drawing a fictional circuit. You have pretty much every single type of corner on this track. But this is basically designed only as a test track, and it was basically only used in the license tests and in the time trial mode in Gran Turismo 3. You can use my phone. The lock pattern is easy. The lock pattern, Complex String. Oh my gosh, so this is... On one hand, I have a lot of fond memories doing the license tests on this track. But on the other hand, it's not necessarily a fun track to drive, despite the fact that it has so many different corner variations. It's a very, like, you look at the scenery. There's nothing there. It's just kind of set in the middle of nowhere. It's basically just sort of a flat test track that doesn't really. It's not great. What does this say? Okay, fair enough. So I'm gonna put this in D tier. It's okay for vehicle testing, but it's not fun to actually race on. It's lower mid tier. It's okay. Next up we have Clubman Stage Route 5. Very, very nice. Clubman Stage Route 5. This track, it's been in the game, it's been in the franchise for a very, very long time. I do hope the Clubman Stage and Special Stage Route 5 do make a return. It's a nighttime city circuit, but you do get some good overtaking. You get some good battles going through the tunnel section, going through here and up into this tight left-hand hairpin turn here. Very, very fun. I have played Assetto Corsa. Assetto Corsa is fun. Assetto Corsa is very enjoyable. I haven't played in a while. I need to dust off the sim rig and get back into sim racing. But still, Assetto Corsa is fun. But yeah, no, this track itself is mostly enjoyable. Although I do prefer the special stage Route 5 as opposed to the clubman stage Route 5. This corner complex here, it gets very, very narrow, pretty much wide enough for maybe 2 cars to go through there. This is right on sort of where it cuts the special stage Route 5 course short. It's okay. It's decent. But it's definitely lower tier than what I would rank special stage Route 5. So let's put that one in C tier. And while we're on the topic of special stage Route 5, we have that there. Let's look at special stage Route 5. Special stage Route 5 is a lot better, especially when they updated in Gran Turismo 5 and 6, or updated in Gran Turismo 5. Very, very enjoyable because you get some really, really, really good. They don't really have any. Yeah, you have the trees. The trees are all sort of dotted with like these LED lights as well that reflect off the side of the vehicles and everything like that. It's really, really, really enjoyable. You do have a lot more good passing points like into this hairpin here, and you can get some good battles going through the right chicane up into the what I call the on-ramp section onto the main straight. Get some really, really good battles with the AI here. And unfortunately get cut off with the clubman stage Route 5. So with this special stage Route 5, definitely an A tier track. Very enjoyable, very fun. It's a little bit of the nostalgia talking, but it's also just very, very, very fun to drive in pretty much every single type of vehicle up until probably up until Group 2 class cars. I'd imagine if they brought it back in Gran Turismo 7 without absolutely butchering it. Grand Valley. So Assetto Corsa, we have like a GTA 5 mod and a Espresso mod. Yeah, there's a lot of mods for Assetto Corsa because it's open source, which does allow people to kind of really mess around with the coding and everything, which is really, really cool. I do want to play around with some of the mods as well. Get a lot of different tracks into the game. Be really cool. Be really fun. Kind of create a sort of a fictional championship. Kind of begin sort of doing sort of a sim racing boot camp to actually get me half decent behind the wheel. So I can eventually get rid of the rookie symbol on my Twitter profile page and everywhere else. Alright, next up we have the Kyoto Driving Park. Kyoto's another pretty good modern Gran Turismo track. It definitely kind of feels like a little bit like Sportsland Sugo, especially the very, very kind of long flowing corners. Let me get that up as well. So you can kind of see the comparisons between the two tracks. You have Sportsland Sugo here, a lot of very fast, very flowing corners with a few tighter technical corners as well. Same with Kyoto Driving Park. This almost kind of feels like I have questions. Where is the? I'm sure there's probably a mod for Mount Akina. You may want to look for instead Mount Haruna or Mount Akagi, because both of those are sort of actual mountain roads in Japan that probably are very, very similar to Mount Akina. For this track, it definitely kind of has the same sort of private racetrack vibe as Sportsland Sugo, sort of in sort of a tighter, denser Japanese forest. Very, very beautiful, very kind of hilly track for both of them. Very, very fun as well. You get some really, really good racing through here. So with that, it is very enjoyable. I definitely like this one. This one's probably also an A tier Gran Turismo original circuit. Very enjoyable. All right, for Rome Circuit, we actually have a couple different options, depending on how we want to interpret that. So Rome Circuit, we either have the Gran Turismo 2 and 3 version, which is the one I prefer. That one goes sort of along this forested parkway route up to the Roman Colosseum, around a couple of residential buildings, loops back, and then goes back around past the park before coming back to the start finish line. This one is really fun. Really fun to do. I like this one a lot. And if you look here, you can kind of actually see the Rome circuit from Gran Turismo 5 and 6 actually going up around here, coming back around down through the chicane here around there. I'm probably not going to do a try not to laugh challenge today, but that's something I could potentially do in the future. Right now, though, we're ranking fictional racing circuits. And this one's okay. The Gran Turismo 5 version is okay. It doesn't have nearly enough passing points compared to the Gran Turismo 2 and 3 version. I definitely prefer the Gran Turismo 2 and Gran Turismo 3 version. Much more than the Gran Turismo 5 and Gran Turismo 6 version. This one flows so much better. You get a lot more passing points. You get a passing point into the heavy braking zone here. You get a passing point into the actual city section there, and you get a very tight corner here that if you get right, you can launch yourself past the AI going to the line, which is super exhilarating. So for this one, if we're talking about the Gran Turismo 2 or Gran Turismo 3 circuits, definitely B tier. If we're talking Gran Turismo 4, Gran Turismo 5, C tier. I'm gonna go with the more modern I'm gonna go with my preferred interpretation, which is Gran Turismo 2 and Gran Turismo 3. So that's gonna go in B tier. Alright, next up we have Città d'Aria. This track is a very tight, another Italian track. Very tight. As you can see here, it's barely wide enough, even on some of the wider parts, to really, it's barely wide enough for like even a single vehicle to go past. Very technical. You really need to be patient when battling another opponent through there. I don't like this one as much. Have I eaten dinner? I did eat dinner. Yep. That's usually why I start my streams at 9. Because it's after you cook dinner, after I get dishes done and everything. It gets me time to actually sort of take care of myself after work as well. So I'm not just like completely burnt out from work immediately streaming, because I imagine that does affect the energy of the stream as well. But no, I did make sure I ate dinner. I'm well rested and everything. Happy to stream. But yeah, the Città d'Aria, not a big fan of actually, and this only really appeared in at least in terms of mainline titles, it only really appeared in Gran Turismo 4. And while it is, oh that's a different one. While the track itself is very beautiful with the classic Italian architecture and everything, the racing itself is not that fun. I don't like it nearly as much. So this one is probably D tier. You're gonna go eat soup? Oh, I hope you enjoy the soup. Alright, next one we have the Hong Kong circuit. Hong Kong circuit is really nice. If I can spell it. Hong Kong. There we go. It's set right at dusk. And you go right along sort of the boardwalk, right along the bay. You have a whole bunch of... You go through one section where it's just nothing but like neon lights reflecting off of the vehicle. This was actually one of the scenes, if you've seen the Gran Turismo 4 opening with the Corvettes and all the muscle cars going through this course, and all the lights reflecting off the cars. That actually impressed my dad a lot. That part of the course, because of I like soup. Soup is really good. Some soup is very good. I like my soup a bit thicker, a little bit chunkier. I don't necessarily like watery soup. Like tomato soup, not necessarily a big fan of. with thickier, like a good hearty sort of chicken soup or a good nice ramen, I like that. But the more watery soup, not as much of a fan of. But this track, very, very fun. It also crosses over itself. You get a really, really good run up to the tight hairpin here, which is a good overtaking spot. But you gotta watch out because it does get very, very tight on corner exit. And the track does then eventually sort of widen up through this street as well. You get some major course width variations going through here, but it is a lot of fun. A lot of fun to get right. Absolutely beautiful. Very, very nice. I do hope they bring this back, actually. This would be a fun course to bring back. Be fun for pretty much up until like group 4, group 3, even group 4 cars. Probably about as fast as you can go through here without it being an absolute mess. But it's very, very, very fun. Very enjoyable. Very fun, especially like with a lot of the tuner cars and everything. Right at dusk. And it's got some really, 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 really good vibes. Definitely, it's definitely B tier. All right, Matterhorn circuit. Now the Matterhorn track is I don't like the Matterhorn track nearly as much. While it is very, very pretty, get lots of sort of mountainous regions and everything like that. It isn't all that fun to actually race on. It's way too hilly, and for a lot of vehicles, you're going way too fast to really get some good laps on it. And it's like I said, you catch some major air. I don't quite like this course as much. Outside of the track itself being pretty, and outside of it having one of the few rally tracks as well that didn't really get used in Gran Turismo 6, it wasn't all that great. It was way too narrow and way too bumpy for its own good. I think definitely a D tier. I didn't like that nearly as much. Toscana on the other hand. Toscana, on the other hand, is a very, very, very fun rally track, actually, in the later Gran Turismo games. Really enjoyable. You get some good width, but it's not too wide. You get some good battles with the opponents. Very, very fun, very fast, very flowing corners. This corner especially right here, this long, sweeping corner that gradually gets tighter, really tests your vehicle control abilities. But you even have some good tight corners as well to kind of outbrake your opponents on. Very, very fun, very enjoyable. That's the thing though. A lot of dirt tracks on Gran Turismo have kind of been forgotten, which is a shame, because this is a very, very fun track. You're in the Italian countryside. Very beautiful, very gorgeous. I'm gonna put it in B tier. B tier is a very, very, very solid. Autumn Ring. Here we go. Autumn Ring is a beautiful, beautiful track. Especially Autumn Ring Mini, but Autumn Ring in general is just really, really, really good. Very fun. You know, you get the leaves, the fall leaves, the beautiful coloring. You get a good variety of corners. You get a good braking zone, diving into the tight hairpin. You get some good switchbacks here. You even have a loop that isn't a loop of death like it is in Route de la Seine. That is very, very fun to get right. Very enjoyable kind of driving around. Very, very, very enjoyable track. I prefer Autumn Ring Mini in sports cars and everything. Adachi, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well today. We're going through all the Gran Turismo racing tracks right now. We still got quite a bit to rank. Right now we're gushing over Autumn Ring. Definitely one of my favorites. Definitely one of my favorite of the tracks. Very enjoyable. It's even fun in the faster go-karts as well. Autumn Ring Mini. Really, really good. Very enjoyable. Definitely A tier. Very good track. I like that a lot. Now on the other hand, we have the track from hell, Ice Arena. This track, at the start of the stream, I talked about I'm half a monster and the other half is exhausted. I know that feeling. It's you know, we're almost to the middle of the week. Just gotta keep strong, keep pushing through it. That being said, if you have to, make sure you get some rest tonight. If you can, make sure you get some good sleep. If you have to choose between watching my streams and getting sleep, please make sure you get some sleep. The stream will almost always be here unless it gets copyright striked or some other horrific thing happens that it gets taken down. But I'm hoping, I do hope you're able to get some rest tonight. But this track is hell. Firstly, Ice Arena. Outside of the stands and a couple of trees, there is nothing memorable about this track. Secondly, this track is super tight. Like there is very little. There's almost no passing point. The track itself is super tight. You're sandwiched between walls on the left and the right. I got a bit at 1 a.m. That's early for me. To be honest, same, but still, don't do as I say, not as I do. Is sort of the terminology. I definitely want you to make sure you get some sleep. But yeah, Ice Arena, like there is barely any scenery, barely any passing points. It is not fun. I am glad that it didn't show up in any other Gran Turismo game outside of Gran Turismo 4. Ice Arena, absolute crap. That is an F tier track. I do not like that one. Yeah, that one is only in Gran Turismo 4, and thankfully it is only in Gran Turismo 4 because I do not like that track. I haven't played GT in a long time, so much nostalgia. Yeah, there's some really good tracks, like Autumn Ring. Autumn Ring is definitely a really good one. But even some of the more modern tracks as well, like Lago Maggiore, is really good. Do you by any chance have a favorite track? I should probably ask the rest of the streamers as well. Ask the rest of the people watching the stream as well if they have a favorite track in Gran Turismo. So I've got a few that are like top tier. Some of my favorites. Some modern, some old ones as well. Dang, you don't offhand. That's okay. Maybe as we're going through this, we can rejog memory, see what some of the good ones are, see what some of the bad ones are. The next one is a very good track, going from an absolutely horrific track to an absolutely beautiful track. Midfield Raceway. So much fun. It's a fairly simplistic track. You do have a good passing point going to the first 2 corners, but afterwards it is a lot of fast sweeping turns that really kind of test your high speed car control. Very fun. Pretty much even up until like a Group 1 type car. This would be a fun track to add back in Gran Turismo 7 if they don't absolutely ruin it, like they did with the revamped version of Grand Valley Speedway. Which we will get to that one. I have some stern words for Polyphony Digital for that one. But this track is very fun. You get on another very good overtaking spot in turn 9 here. Very tight, very technical. Braking, especially in the faster cars, through the turn 8 corner complex, the left-right corner complex is very tricky. Especially if you don't have any traction control or any stability control on. Your car can get just a little bit squirrely. But if you do it right, you can almost sort of slide the vehicle around the tight hairpin and get a good launch out through the S-curves back to the straightaway. Very fun. Someone even made a mod for Assetto Corsa. That's cool. But midfield raceway, very fun, very fast circuit, very flowing circuit. Absolutely enjoyable. That's a cool sort of top-down view of that. Very nice. Midfield Raceway. Midfield Raceway is S tier. Very nice. Very enjoyable. Next up, Special Stage Route 7. This one isn't nearly as fun. because it's basically just, it's a long highway, an off-ramp, and then a long highway back. And while it is absolutely, you know, it does get that, you know, sort of that One God Midnight vibes, which is fun. And it's really, really cool in a highly modified, you know, tuner car and everything. It's not enjoyable to actually race on. There isn't really any outside of the two hairpins. There isn't really a whole lot of action going on here. It's just a long sort of semi straightaway. I know a lot of people during the Gran Turismo 5 and Gran Turismo 6 eras, when the online was on, they would do a whole lot of like the cruises and everything like that to show off your custom cars, which was fun. It was fine, but in terms of actual racing, in terms of producing good racing, not that great. It's not nearly as painful as Tokyo Expressway or Ice Arena, but definitely D tier. Now, oh, we actually get to the rant time really quickly. Grand Valley Speedway. Cool. Grand Valley Speedway. Oh, look at how they massacred my boy. Let's look at the Gran Turismo 5 version first, if we can actually find pictures of the Gran Turismo 5 version. The Gran Turismo 5 version is an actual racing circuit. A very, very good racing circuit. You get some good high-speed corner complexes. Hey, can you get my brother to stop trying? He doesn't want to brush his teeth, please. You definitely should brush your teeth. Do please make sure you brush your teeth. Brushing your teeth is dental hygiene is very important. You do not want cavities. You do not want to have to get a root canal when you get older. The earlier you take care of your teeth, the better your adult years will be. Speaking from experience, please take care of your teeth. I took care of my teeth for most of my childhood, and then during my college years, it was a little bit with a lot of all nights and a lot of energy drinks and everything like that. I definitely had some teeth issues during my college years. Definitely do not recommend. Take care of your teeth, please. But yeah, Grand Valley was an actual racing track. It had lots of fun corners. It felt good to drive. You can drive it in even like the top tier like prototype or even Formula 1 cars, and it would produce really, really good racing. You had the high speed corners, you had the stadium hairpin, which is very, very fun. Good braking point, good overtaking spot. And then you can battle a bit through the S's down into the tight hairpin here. Again, very, very fun. Lots of good battles, right? And you even have the blue suspension bridge. It's just very, very fun. Very enjoyable. They literally could have just ported this with a couple of graphical updates from Gran Turismo 5 to Gran Turismo 7, and people would be happy, and you'd have a lot of good racing. Instead, what they did is they turned it into a narrow, bumpy, coastal highway instead of an actual racetrack. Look at how they massacred my boy. Say hi to my brother. Hello, brother. But I think 5 was the last game I played, or 4. Yeah, 5 was probably the last really, really good Gran Turismo game before it kind of began really falling off, unfortunately. But look at this. They got rid of the blue suspension bridge. The track itself is narrow. His name's David. Oh, hi, David. The track itself is narrow. Very, very narrow. There's not a whole lot of passing points. The track itself is much bumpier. So you can't race, you know, the high performance, you know, Group 1, your Le Mans prototypes on, or your Group C cars or your Formula cars like you could with the old Grand Valley Speedway. No, instead it's this. Why? you didn't need to change it. You already had a couple of sort of classic street tracks turned into I like racing, like the wind in the old stage. Oh, that one, like the wind in test course, that was fun too. But this track, while it is very, very pretty, this track really, I don't like what they did with it. I don't like what they did with it. It is horrible. So I'm going to rank the regular Grand Valley. I'm gonna rank the regular Grand Valley in S tier. But the replacement for it is D tier. It's not horrific to drive, but it's not great. It's not good. Next one, Trial Mountain. One of the few tracks that I actually do enjoy the changes they made in Gran Turismo 7. But I also like the older Trial Mountain as well. They did a good job with Trial Mountain. Trial Mountain is a very, very fun track. Both in the old, with the sort of more, sort of actual sort of road-like corners, and then the new one, which is more sort of, like an actual racing track set in the woods. It looks absolutely gorgeous. It has always looked absolutely gorgeous. Lots of hills, lots of very, very fun undulations. It looks pretty. It is fun to drive. You can get some really, really good racing. Actually, one of my favorite races, one of my favorite events in Gran Turismo 7 is the Group B rally car race on Trial Mountain. You get some really, really good battles with the AI, depending on what strategy you use, and it is so much fun. Plus, Trial Mountain has been in the game for the game franchise for a very, very long time. And while I am sad that they got rid of the yeet chicane, because they did get rid of the yeet chicane, they changed that so you can't really cut the corner. It is still, yeah, that's probably a better one. This is all like walls and everything. It is still a very fun course. So this is an A tier course, both for the past and for the present. I like that one a lot. Special Stage Route X. This one. I wonder, can you cut the corner in the arcade version? The arcade version. I don't think so. I've not tested cutting the corner because it's basically a barrier. Like they've barriered it off, so you can't cut through it that way. Which is unfortunate. But I mean, if they want to make it more towards actual racing and everything like that, I can understand it. It's still a fun course regardless if you can cut the chicane or not. Now, hey man, if I have to go to sleep, have to go tomorrow. That's alright. Thank you for stopping by. Hope you have a great night. Sleep well, please. So now we have take care. So now we have Special Stage Route X. And this course is basically the test course, but more. It is a massive, it's basically just a massive straightaway combined with two very, very big, super high banked hairpin turns. Like, you can ignore this section here, but this is the rest of, it is basically a 30-kilometer long oval, which is okay. It's okay. You can get some fun, you can have some fun with friends on this course. You can get a lot of fun drafting battles, but the course itself is basically just holding down the gas pedal. So in that regards, it's not great. I rank this one D tier. Take care, man. Have a great night. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Hope to see you tomorrow. But yeah, Special Stage Route X, not the best. It's okay. Cape Ring was actually a lot of fun. Cape Ring is really enjoyable. A lot of good variety of corners. You get some really fun stuff. I do like the actual ring there. It's a high banked ring, which is very, very fun. Sort of the double layered, so almost like a highway looping around. And you actually had a jump as well. That was very, very fun in some of the slower vehicles. Really enjoyable to drive through. Definitely like this one a lot. Was it in 6? I think it was also in 6 as well, yeah. So I remember being punted off in a couple online races on one of these hairpins. But it's still, there's also a lot of different course variations. Like you have the south course, you have the north course, and you have like the outer ring and inner ring as well. High speed ring is also very, very good. This course would be fun to see return. Even if it's mostly used just for like sports car racing and not necessarily for like actual racing cars. Still really, really fun, really enjoyable to drive. I enjoy the creativity, even if there isn't a whole lot of like actual like outside, like even if there isn't a whole lot of actual scenery, it is still very, very fun. So the scenery is a bit bland, but otherwise it's a good track. Definitely B tier. Seattle's fun. Seattle is really, really, really good. Although technically Seattle can't exist anymore because they got rid of, they demolished the parking, or they demolished the road going through this section here and replaced it with another parking garage. So you can't actually drive on Seattle circuit in real life anymore, which is a shame. But it would still be very, very, really, really cool as a throwback. Which is also probably why it's not actually coming back, at least not in its original format. But the jumps heading up to the tight right-hand corner here were very, very fun, up until around like the supercar level performance vehicles. Very enjoyable. You had a lot of really good corner mixes for a city street circuit. The chicane going through here was very, very fun. Difficult. You can't really pass here, but it was very, very fun to cut through there. Very high commitment, very enjoyable to drive. The railroad tracks, getting a little bit messed up on the railroad tracks, getting a little bit sideways there. Very enjoyable, very fun. I definitely actually really enjoy this one. Seattle circuit is a good B tier circuit. Next up we have Costa de Amalfi, another single game circuit. Costa de Amalfi. This one is absolutely gorgeous. Like, look at that. That is, even for PS2 graphics, this is a beautiful track. Kind of racing through a Mediterranean town, little Mediterranean island, kind of going up to the top of the mountain and then coming back down. A lot of twists, a lot of turns. Very enjoyable for rally racing. Very, very nice. I would love to see this brought back with modern graphics. This would be really enjoyable, I think. Unfortunately, this was only in Gran Turismo 4. It's hidden away in Gran Turismo 5, but you can't actually access it in Gran Turismo 5 without using some cheat devices and everything. And of course, you do have the grind that you would do, grinding the Toyota RSC rally cars for a lot of money early on. Very currently during the GT4 Toyota RSC money trick. Yep, everyone kind of notices that one, but it is so much fun. Lot of fun to get right. Very enjoyable. I enjoyed the license test as well with the Lancia Straight Toast rally car. Definitely one of the better rally tracks in Gran Turismo 4. Grind to grind. But this track, very, very fun, very gorgeous. I definitely rank it A. Just the looks, the vibes, very, very enjoyable. It's not great for every single vehicle, but it's fun in rally and sports cars. And that's what matters, is that it's at least really, really good for those types of vehicles. We also have El Capitan. which is another Gran Turismo 4 track. Very enjoyable. Kind of in the California woods. Very cool. You also have the Cathedral Trail track sort of in the infield as well. So you get a lot of use of the El Capitan turns 1, 2, 3, and 4 through there before you go back to the rally track for the Cathedral Trail, the long Cathedral Trail. This one is very, very fun and a good mid to upper tier sports car, like a Honda NSX or your Mercedes SL65s. Very, very fun, very enjoyable, and you have the massive rock face sort of overlooking the entire track as well. Really, really cool. Definitely like this. I definitely rank this A tier. Alright, of course we have the Cathedral Rocks Trail as well. Both of these sort of take place on the El Capitan track, or partially an El Capitan track. The Cathedral Rocks Trail, I don't know a lot about the cars, but I love the map. Yeah, the map is super good. And if you have any automotive questions as well, feel free to ask. I'm more than willing to kind of take time to kind of explain everything. Because one, I enjoy talking about cars, and two, I always want to make sure people up to speed of what's going on and everything like that. And three, it's always fun to kind of learn new information, learn new stuff. So if you have any automotive questions as well, feel free to ask me. And if I don't know, I would definitely do some research and get back to you as well. I don't even know what to ask. I think it's something I should ask. Sure, sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan. We have the two Cathedral Rocks trails as well. If I remember correctly, which one is which? Alright, so Cathedral Rocks Trail 2 is the one that is entirely dirt, and Cathedral Rocks Trail 1 is the one that goes on to El Capitan. Alright, so Cathedral Rocks Trail 2 is probably C tier. It's decent. It's a good dirt bowl. Fun, enjoyable, good mid-range track. Cathedral Rocks Trail 1 though is definitely B tier. Having a track go onto the actual racing circuit of another track kind of gives it that like rallycross vibes. Very, very fun, very enjoyable. Plus also that the long left-hand sweeper on the dirt tires is very, very squirrely in certain vehicles, so it's a lot of fun. Very, very enjoyable. I definitely like it a lot. Wow, we still have a decent amount of tracks left to go through. But wow, this is cool. Kart Space. Oh, I forgot about Kart Space. Kart Space. Well, it's basically only good for go-karts in the game. It is so much fun. You have it's almost like someone turned an arcade into a place, like an indoor go-karting ring. It's covered in neon lights and the sponsored TVs and everything like that. It is all lit up. It is super, super, super cool. And this is actually really, really fun to race the go-karts in as well. You get some good passing points, good battling points going into these tight hairpins here, and the long left-hand sweeper. Really, really, really cool. Really enjoying that a lot. I have a lot of good memories. With this track. And it's just, everything is lit up with the neon lights and everything. It's so much fun. You get some undulations, some elevation changes as well. Some little bumps and everything to kind of unsettle the karts. Like this looks like something you put like in the middle of a city, for like electric karts. And have people, pay a bunch of money to go, race the go-karts around here. And it just looks very, very, very fun. It looks like something that people would do for like e-sport, like an actual sort of like a a Gran Turismo, like World Tour or whatever. Well, not necessarily Gran Turismo World Tour, but like the Gran Turismo Academy. Electric cars any good? They can be good. Electric cars are still hit and miss. Technology isn't 100% there, but they're decent. In motorsport itself, you do have Formula E. Formula E is interesting. The cars themselves and the racing can be very, very good. but some of the rules, some of the tracks themselves leaves a little bit to be desired. I think if they kind of diversified a bit for the different types of tracks and did a good mix of city street circuits and some permanent, some smaller, tighter, permanent racing circuits, I definitely think Formula E could really take off as a good, really enjoyable form of motorsport. And they are beginning to race on permanent circuits with them racing in Portland International Raceway, which is cool. But it'd be cool to see them racing other sort of more permanent circuits as well. But the carts in here are all gas powered, but you don't have to worry about emissions or ventilation, indoor ventilation, or anything like that because it's a video game, thankfully. But the track itself is very fun, very vibrant, very enjoyable. Definitely A tier. Really enjoyable, actually. I like that a lot. Deep Forest. The old Deep Forest, very cool. The newer Deep Forest, less so. This is the old Deep Forest from pretty much up until I think even like Gran Turismo 5 they use it, or Gran Turismo 6. Very fun, very flowing, good for sports cars and some lower tier racing cars. Really enjoyable, really fun. Everything kind of flowed together. Some really good corner complexes. The 2, 3, 4 corner complex. A little bit tricky because you're going over a hill and everything. Very bumpy. But it's still very fun. And then they kind of smoothed it out a little bit in Gran Turismo 7, and they kind of redid this corner complex here, which instead of it being, God, I hate that hill. The hill itself is very tricky, very easy as your car, kind of a little bit squirrely one. But then they changed in Gran Turismo 7, and instead of having it flow around through here and having it be more of a high-speed corner and then having it flow through this corner complex there. Nope, instead they changed it up and kind of made this a sharp left-hand turn into a long straight into another very tight turn, which basically becomes dive bomb central. And on one hand, it does make the racing, as much as I hate to admit it, it does make the racing a little bit better. It does make for some good overtakes, it does make for some good battles. But on the other hand, I do prefer the older Deep Forest Raceway. The new one isn't bad, but the old one was so much better. So I'm gonna put it in B tier. It's decent. Overall, it's decent. The original is probably closer to A tier, but the new one is probably middle B tier. Still solid, but a bit less. I definitely feel like something was lost. Alright, George v Paris. I almost forgot about that one. That was another track in Gran Turismo 4. Oh gosh. There we go. This track actually can be created with real life, use real circuit, real streets in Paris. It goes around the Arc de Triomphe as well. Really cool. And it's a rally track, or a dual track in Gran Turismo 4. Very beautiful. It's a night track. You're on the slick cobbled streets of Paris as well, so you do have a little bit less grip. It is very tight, very technical, so it is difficult to pass. But you do have a couple of good spots as well. The roundabout around the Arc de Triomphe, very fun. The rest of the track is just kind of turn. There isn't a whole lot going for it. It's a lot of mid-speed, very short corners. So I'm not as big a fan on this track, but it's okay. It is an okay rally stage. I don't actively dislike it. It's C tier. Alright, now we have Eiger Nordwand. Eiger Nordwand, I think. Now this one had a lot of rally stages as well in Gran Turismo 5. And while it was very beautiful, and they kind of reused a lot of the assets for the Matterhorn track in Gran Turismo's the Matterhorn track as well. It's still an decent, an okay track. basically up until roughly like your lower tier sports cars, like your Honda Civic Type Rs, your Integra Type Rs, your Mitsubishi Evos. Though those cars can handle the track decently enough. Anything faster, and it's not nearly as fun, I think. So it's an okay. It's all right. It is a good mid tier track. The tight hairpin section going back and forth there, and then the blast through the tunnel through this section is fairly fun, but some other parts aren't quite as good. It's okay. The rally circuits are also okay. Another C tier track. Swiss Alps. All right, we're going through a lot of like your mountain tracks right now. Swiss Alps, on the other hand, is very fun. Very good. Very enjoyable. It's a wider rally track. Like, it is very wide. So you can get some good battles with the AI. You can get some good battles with the other opponents. And there's a lot of different lines you can take through the corners. A couple of good passing points. You can get some really good duels going through these double hairpins. And keeping your car as close to the inside as possible so you can get a good launch out of the corner onto the home straight. Very tricky course. It's deceptively tricky, deceptively difficult to set a good time here. Yeah, unless I rubber band you. Okay, that's fair. GT3 did have a bit of rubber banding. That's true. But it still was a very fun. Still was a very fun rally track. You do have some good places to catch some airtime. Going over the bridge was also very fun. Bridge part as well was really good. So this one's a good B tier track. I like that one a lot. Grand Canyon as well was really good. Before Grand Canyon. This one was really beautiful. You get the, because they reuse some of the assets from when they created the Photoscapes location for Gran Turismo 4, and they used that to create their own rally track as well. And this track was so much fun. Very tricky, very difficult, very tight, very technical, very slow speed rally stage. But unlike Ice Arena, you do have a couple of high speed sections to be able to get past your opponents and duel them. And this straight with its multiple jumps, going into a heavy braking zone to try to get Dakara to turn in for the left-hand sweeper was always very fun, really enjoyable. Lots of really enjoyable driving going on here. I also loved all of the people taking pictures right by the side of the track and everything like that, and the people that would run across the track taking pictures as well. That was really cool detail that they added. Like they added a lot of pedestrians as well to really kind of add to the vibe that this is an actual like rally track, and it's very fun. They did a really good job with this one. This is an A tier. I think this is definitely an A tier rally track. Next one is Chamois, I believe, in Canada. And this one's fun. This one's cool because you kind of start out on a paved road, going kind of past a lot of like the frozen rivers through the tunnels and everything. Very enjoyable, very fun. And then you go into the tight, technical, very twisty snow sections as well. This is how you create an actual snow course. Very fun, very great. Definitely A tier. I like that one a lot. Alright, next one we have Gran Turismo Arena. That one's good too. I think. I'm trying to remember that one. Gran Turismo Arena is, again, it was another go-kart track. Kind of right in the middle of a lot of like, you know, set in sort of like an actual arena. Kind of gives almost a Race of Champions vibe. But it's still kind of cool. Having a track set directly in the center of like almost like a football stadium was a really cool idea. But I mean, in comparison to the other kart tracks, this one is definitely a bit lower tier not quite as good as kart space. Yeah, it basically looks like they turned a football stadium into a racetrack, which actually does happen for some things. If you're familiar with the Race of Champions, they basically kind of for a while they did them in stadiums as well, and it was basically an indoor or partially indoor race event against the two cars on the tracks that would sort of be parallel to each other, and they basically be racing for best time going through there, which is really, really cool. Like this is one of the tracks inside of I'm trying to remember which one. I'm trying to remember which stadium that one is. But yeah, like they're basically racing against each other, going around the track and everything. The track crosses over itself. So basically, going around the track twice, or going around the track to the point where you end up back on your own side, is counted as a single lap, which is really, really cool. So in that regards, it does have a decent vibe, really, really cool. Something that's still plausible, but still really, really enjoyable. But it's not nearly as good as Kart Space. So this is a good B tier track. Alright, New York. New York is actually decent. New York is half decent. You get some really... You're blasting basically right through Times Square. Like how outrageous it is. Yeah, it's still really, really cool. But I'm also ranking on how fun it is to drive as well. And it's okay. It's okay to drive. It's better than most, but it's okay. This track was so much fun in Gran Turismo 4 New York. Very tight technical sections, good overtaking spots coming into the tight, almost double 90-degree hairpin turn here. You get some really, really good track width variety as well. And the roundabout section here was really, really fun, really, really enjoyable. And the endurance events on Gran Turismo 4 was so much fun as well. So that is definitely also an A tier. I like New York as well. Alright, Blue Moon Bay. Blue Moon Bay is basically what would happen if they took Pocono Speedway, created an infield road course of it as well, and then placed it out instead of Pennsylvania, took it and put it in California. And it's okay. The infield road course is very mid. Not a whole lot going on there, not all that great. It's okay. And the outside track is also, it's kind of mid. While it is very, very pretty, that's a poor picture, but while it is very, 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 very nice, very pretty, it's not anything special. So C tier. It's okay. Now, the fun one. Tokyo Route 246. The good Tokyo track. This track is actually a great to race on. It's a city street circuit. It's set in Tokyo, created specifically for Gran Turismo, that could still be rescanned today and actually driven on. Like, no, seriously, you can see, like, the city streets do exist for this. And right around here, you actually go just past the start-finish line. There actually is the Honda headquarters. So you have a track that can be used basically for even up to maybe even Formula style racing, like Formula 1 racing. Because the track itself is that good. You got some good overtakes in the turn, good overtaking points in the turn 1, as well as into the hairpin. You get a track you can still scan and basically recreate, like, from the modern Gran Turismo games, with direct ties to automotive culture, because it literally goes past the headquarters of one of the largest Japanese automakers in the world, and instead they do a fictional highway. Sure, that makes sense. But no, Route 246, Tokyo Route 246 is so cool. And this is like you can see like this is it actually can be, you know, driven on in real life, or the roads themselves can be driven on in real life. So you can they can take a vehicle and they could laser scan it and basically plot that into Gran Turismo 7. And just add some barriers, add, you know, the gantries and everything like that. I don't know why they don't. Like that, you'd have the racing on it was always so good. And it's a track that was fun to drive in pretty much any vehicle, except for like the slowest of the slow. And it was just so much fun. So, Route 246. Let me zoom out a little bit. Route 246, S tier. Very, very good. London. A not so great city circuit. Get turn. Kind of it's very, very, very tight. Not a whole lot of passing points. Not that fun to drive. It is very pretty, very detailed. They did do a good job modeling it. But the track itself isn't all that fun. London, D tier. Opera Paris. Opera Paris isn't too bad. You do have a few sections that are actually enjoyable. The run down the back straight and going through this left-hand kink here is very, very enjoyable. The start-finish straight is literally right in front of the FIA main headquarters, which is cool. It actually kind of ties everything, ties it back to sort of automotive culture of why would you have a street circuit here? Because it is literally right in front of the FIA headquarters, which is really, really cool. It is still a bit tight. A little bit too technical for its own good. But it's not, there is a few good passing points in it. So I put this also in C tier. It's okay. Tahiti Maze. Tahiti Maze is actually really, really good. I like Tahiti Maze a lot. Tahiti Maze, you got a lot of hairpin turns. You can do some sort of like almost toge battles against your opponents going through. Absolutely gorgeous. You have the beautiful, that's dreadful picture. Give me some good pictures. You have basically you're right by the waterfront as well, which, you know, with the beautiful Tahiti island and everything, it's, you know, beautiful crystal blue water. Very, very pretty. Very, very fun. It'd be cool to remaster this one. The track itself is very fun to drive through. You have a good tarmac section from here all the way to here, which is makes it very, very tricky on some of the rally cars. And then you get some of the tight, very tricky hairpin turns. So if you get on the throttle too quickly, you end up spinning on them. You get the long, sweeping, drifting zone here. Very, very fun. Very enjoyable. Really good. They need to remaster this. It actually is hidden in Gran Turismo 5, but you could basically need like a Game Shark, or like you need to hack the game almost to get access to it. But the files for the track do exist in Gran Turismo 5. Like there's so many removed tracks in Gran Turismo 5. It's unfunny, but there's so many memorable locations and everything. Going past the little huts and everything, so good. I like this a lot. A tier. Now, for my personal favorite track, Apricot Hill. This track is fun. This track is so much fun. It flows so good. You get the sort of the slight left into the tighter left. So you're braking and you're turning at the same time. You're kind of feathering the throttle, feathering the brakes, trying to get the car turned in, but not lose too much speed. And then you're going through the S's that get progressively tighter as you go through. But remember this one? Oh, this one was fun. This one was really, really good. Very beautiful. Very enjoyable. They even had it, where's a good picture for Apricot Hill? And that's decent. And kind of set in sort of farmland, but it's still really, really, really fun to race on. Really enjoyable. I hope they bring this one back, because this one as well, like Grand Valley beforehand, could really be added or ported with a few modifications into Gran Turismo 7, and it could still be very, very fun to race on. Like, they don't need to change this one to make it, you know, fit for esports or what have you. Like, no, it's, you know, they had variable weather in Gran Turismo 6. Very, 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 very cool. I also enjoyed going into the tight hairpin here. Very, very good passing point there. And getting the high commitment chicane here just right, so you get enough speed going on the steep uphill before you go down, go back downhill on the finish straight. So much fun. So much fun. Very enjoyable track. It's compared to some of the other ones, it does get forgotten a lot, which is a shame. But I definitely rank it in S tier. It is one of my favorite tracks. It's so good. Let's very good. It's just an there's an onboard lap. So let's get this. Let's open this. All right. I'm a very slow car. But the track itself is very fun. You're going downhill, across the start finish line. Very enjoyable. You get a slight tap of the brakes as you begin going to the turn 1. Gradually getting more and more onto the brakes as you get through. Oh, he's going very wide. The driver on this car is not doing the greatest job. But you gotta gradually get onto the brakes as you turn in. Now you're going through the S's. The course itself flows beautifully, going left, right, back left again. Very good, very enjoyable. And then finally, once you get to the S's, you go through a corner, what I call a tire killer, because it's a very high G-force, very long sweeper left-hander, but it is so fun to drive through, because especially in high downforce cars, you can reach some really high speed going through there. Under the bridge, before you get to around 100 meters, go into the braking zone, into the tight right-hand hairpin. Good passing point here. Really enjoyable to drive. Then you begin making your way back uphill just a little bit as you're kind of going through the infield section. Some more sweeping corners. Like the track itself just flows really good. And it's even fun to just do drifting events as well. Hey, that's my video. Oh, this guy's going so wide. And then the high commitment chicane. Very fun, really enjoyable. But yeah, this is one of my favorite tracks in the Gran Turismo franchise. Definitely like that one a lot. High Speed Ring. High Speed Ring is the next one. High Speed Ring is also really good. That's one of the ones they didn't really mess up too much on Gran Turismo 7. They did make the run. They did make the run to the second turn a little bit longer, but otherwise it is still very fun, really enjoyable. Massive crowds as well, really cool, really good vibes. You know, you're going over the bridge as well. It feels like just barely outside of the realm of possibility, but still really fun. And it is very nice. Very enjoyable to drive. High Speed Ring also S tier. Let me zoom out just a little bit more. I'm running out of space. Alright, Madrid circuit. Madrid is not great. Basically, it suffers the same problems that London does, in that the track itself is way too tight for its own good. You can't really get any good passing, can't really get any good overtakes. It's very narrow. A lot of the corners are very single file. Not great. D tier. Smoky Mountain, on the other hand. Smoky Mountain is so good. Smoky Mountain is very fun. especially because you're racing it right at dusk. You have a very long, high-speed tarmac section through here, and then you gotta kind of almost throw the car into the dirt on this corner to get it turned in. Very, very fun, really enjoyable. So much fun to get right. Really enjoyable. Very, very high-speed dirt track. A tier. Very, very good. Then we have Special Stage Route 11. And we have so many tracks. Special Stage Route 11 was a very, very, very fun track. Especially, a lot of people prefer the Gran Turismo 1 variant. But I really like the Gran Turismo 3 variant, where instead of going up through the tunnel, you're going down and kind of have the high speed chicane before you go through the twisty bits. This track is very, very fun, really enjoyable to drive. The lights reflecting off the cars, the neon Ferris wheel, all of it is so much fun. Definitely really like this one. I wish it was some more Gran Turismo games besides just 1 and 3, but it's still really, really good. So A tier. Tahiti Circuit, probably one of my favorite of the rally stages. Sorry, not Tahiti Circuit. Tahiti Circuit. Tahiti Circuit is really, really, really nice. Very flowing, very fun course. A couple of hairpins. But you do get a couple of high-speed sections as well, going over the jump. Very, very nice. Very enjoyable. Again, you get the beautiful tropical vibes, which I really like as well. Really, really cool. Tahiti Circuit, S tier. I like that one a lot. Alright, Dragon Trail. Dragon Trail is one of the newer ones that was created for Gran Turismo Sport. It's set in Croatia, if I remember correctly. And you have the Yeet chicane, or the Death chicane, where you basically need to get the line exactly right or your lap time will die. But it is so much fun. It's set almost kind of in the mountains. But it's very, very, very fun. Very, very, very great. Why Dragon Trail Gardens is a Tokadrome. Oh gosh, hang on. Got back-to-back straights. Okay, fair enough. Big super fun and Toka don't usually mix, but it does here. Fill off onto the Toka tracks. Great for your front tires. They'll take a beating and a half. You're breaking into a chicane. This is comp. Oh wow. Oh gosh, I forgot. Okay, Dragon Trail Gardens is a bit of a Tokadrome. Mom, can we have Invincible Park turning? Wow. Okay, that is fair. That's fair. That is a fair criticism of the track, but it's still a very, very fun track though, even if it is a bit of a Tokadrome. The Dragon Trail Seaside though is the meat and potatoes, so that is the better of those two circuits. Very, very high speed, a lot of flowing corners, and again the chicane of death that has been memed. Let's see if there's. God, I can't spell. The chicane of death. You need to go like fully. You need to fully commit through that corner, and if you do not, you will die. But it is so much fun because basically you need to get like all the way as far onto the curbs as possible to get a good line through there, and your car just gets a little bit unsettled as well. So if your tires are really worn, you run the risk of spinning out. It is very tricky, very tricky corner. Dragon Trail is definitely a really good track in Gran Turismo, the newer Gran Turismo games. Definitely A tier. All right, this one right here is Grindelwald. Grindelwald is an older Gran Turismo track, featured last seen in Gran Turismo 2. Very, very fun. Again, kind of set in a nice sort of old town. Kind of gets that sort of classic Grand Prix vibe. Decent enough. I don't have too many memories of that one, but it's a decent track. It's okay. I put Grindelwald in C tier. Then you have Seoul. Seoul is, well, Seoul. It's like discount Baku. I don't. So Seoul is not fun. Seoul is not fun at all. Seoul is D tier. Seoul is it's literally discount Baku. Like this is Baku. This is where they race for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix for Formula 1. This is Seoul. They granted, Baku came after Seoul, but this is very there isn't a whole lot to it. It's very mid. Not that great. Alright, they did double up on this one here. And both of these are the test path. Trying to remember which of those ones are real quick. Give me a second. One second. So if I remember correctly, I'm trying to remember which that one is. Oh, that's Motorsports Land. Okay. All right, I'm trying to remember which one that one is. Motorsports Land. Yeah, there he is. Very tight. It's basically used for time trials and nothing else. It's okay. Next one, Red Rock Valley. Red Rock Valley is actually really fun. That is one of the few tracks from Gran Turismo 2 that I like really remember and had a lot of fun with. It's basically if you combine a super speedway with like a Suzuka, where it kind of loops over itself. Very fun. Really enjoyable to drive on. The track itself is also set at dusk. It's got the cool vibes. I definitely want to see this one come back. A tier. Next one is Rome Night. Rome Night is a decent track. Let's get the actual track up. It's okay. There isn't a whole lot going on this one. It's mid. Rome Night is kind of more of a mid track. It's not great, not terrible. Compared to the other two Rome circuits, it's kind of forgettable. To the point where when looking up the different tracks for this, I kind of was almost like, oh yeah, that one actually exists. Whoopsie daisies. It's a C tier track. A lot of the Gran Turismo 2 tracks are a bit more forgettable. Now, I'm trying to remember what that one is. And I am forgetting horrifically. Which shows just how much I actually remember that one. I believe that one is Tahiti Road? No, that's not Tahiti Road. Tahiti Road's not on here, actually. What is that one? One second, please. Now I'm a little bit curious to see which one that one actually is. Green Forest Raceway. I don't remember that one. Not bad. I fit many of them. Don't feel bad. I forgot many of them until this too. No, that one keeps escaping my mind. Yeah, Green Forest Raceway. So that one was also a rally race. I don't remember much of it. And I like how even the Google search results result in the track itself getting confused with Deep Forest Raceway as well. It looks like an okay track. I don't remember much of it, so I'm gonna put it in C tier. On the other hand, you have Broadbean Raceway. Broadbean is not fun. You created an oval with an awkward, like, 90-degree left-hand turn, and then also made an oval that turns right. This track is not fun to race on. It isn't really good to drive on either. This is definitely F tier. I don't like that one as much. All right, color final 3 tracks before we finish the tier maker. Wow, there is a lot. There's a lot of tracks on there. All right. Let's get this one. Colorado Springs, nice rally track. It's a bit more open compared to some of the other rally tracks. So you can get some good battles with the AI here. Very fun, very enjoyable. This one's actually decent. This one's actually decent. I'm gonna put it in B tier. Fisherman's Ranch, on the other hand, I don't like that one as much. Fisherman's Ranch is way too tight, way too technical for its own good. And the cars themselves really don't like the cars themselves don't really like going over the bumps either. As you can see here, the cars themselves react very, very poorly to some of the bumps there. Not that great to drive. Fisherman's Ranch is kind of D tier. And then finally we have Sardegna. Sardegna is actually half decent. That or I've been Pavloved into thinking that from grinding it so much. But it is really, really cool. Again, it's got that older sort of Grand Prix vibe, racing through sort of like the Italian, like sort of the Central European or Western European countryside, past all the windmills and everything like that, past some really, really cool old architecture. The track itself is wide enough for good overtakes, but it's also narrow enough that make it just a little bit risky as well. Very fun, very, very enjoyable. I'm putting Sardegna in B tier. And there we go. I wanna see the community rank for this one where people put other stuff. So this is where people put the average ranking. The S tier tracks for the other people. Tokyo Route 246, definitely go with that. Autumn Ring, Apricot Hill, Grand Valley. Some of the best tracks in the series. F tier. Tokyo Expressway? Yep. I'm surprised Ice Arena isn't down here. I'm also surprised Kyoto Driving Park is this low as well. I actually really enjoy Kyoto. Oh my gosh, the average ranking of Ice Arena is in B tier. Bruh. Ice Arena is dreadful. But there we go though, we managed. We ranked a bunch of different racing tracks. So many racing tracks. Especially I didn't realize just how many racing tracks there were in Gran Turismo and the Gran Turismo franchise. This was a lot of fun. I'm gonna give this a smiley face. And I should probably post these. I'll probably post the link to these in the comments as well if other people want to do or post the link to these at least on like my Twitter or something. So other people can do these as well, see what they think. This was a lot of fun. It's actually a lot of fun doing sort of the just chatting stream instead of just playing games and everything. Really cool. I might do this a bit more if people enjoy this and everything. Kind of want to sort of broaden the what I do for streams a little bit, but still keep it semi-automotive focused. With that being said, though, I'm probably gonna be ending the stream here. It is 11:30. I know I need to make sure I get some sleep. I need to get a few things worked on as well. And I do hope Adachiku, that you also get some sleep as well, please. Definitely be very, very good. That being said, though, thank you all so much for watching. I do appreciate it. If you enjoyed the stream, do leave a like, subscribe. Let me know what I'm doing well in the comments below. If you didn't like this, if you want me to just go back to just only playing video games, you let me know as well, and I can do that. This is sort of a bit more of a testing, just kind of, you know, testing the waters, seeing if this is enjoyable content to make and to also watch as well. Thank you. Oh, thanks for stopping by the stream as well, Adachiku. I appreciate that. With that being said, I'm gonna probably be ending the stream here. I'm Isaac Umbras. Do whatever you want, is what I say. All right, cool. But I want to make sure I make content that people enjoy as well. Because it's one of those things where, if you've ever watched Joe Dirt, it's an older movie. It's a weird movie, but there's one scene that kind of sticks out to me. It's a guy who he has a fireworks stand, and the main character, he goes up to him. I enjoy it. Oh, that's good. Thank you. So the guy, he's got a fireworks stand, and the main character, Joe, he comes up to it. He's like, "Oh, you got any, big mortars, big fireworks, any whirly birdies, any of that stuff?" And the guy in the fireworks stand's like, "No, I only sell sparklers and poppets." "Oh, you don't have the King of Bobs, you don't have the King Cobras, you don't have none of this stuff?" "Nah, I just sell sparklers." "Well, why don't you sell all the other stuff?" "Well, I don't like the other stuff." And sort of he goes through the spiel of, well, you want to make sure you sell, the stuff that other people are going to want to buy as well. Otherwise, it's not necessarily just what you want to do, it's what, other people watching want to do as well. So, sorry, a little bit of a rant, not a rant, but a little bit of a ramble. But it's kind of stuck with me a little bit. But that being said, thank you all so much for watching. I've been Isaac Umbras, and wherever you're in the world, whatever time of day it is for you, I do hope it is a great time. And I hope to see you in the next stream. Until then, take care, everyone. Bye-bye!